vulnerability. The problem we're having right now is people compare versus what should not be the case. I think the most important part should be and to support on this. What are you giving boys? You're empowering girls on this. There was the gap of girls now really picking up, and that's why there's the gap of it. Of maybe men now seeing that it's more into girls because maybe right now is when people are waking up to about girls child more, but should not be a matter of comparison. So for me, I think it's about girls supporting boys also in their weakest points or points that we consider they're not doing much better, or because societies are placing them on to the extremes. And boys also supporting the girls, because again, if we start supporting the boys only in their extremities, then it will mean girls tena wanaanza kuachwa nyuma.
Yeah. Okay. When we talk about, you want to add on something? All right. When we talk about matters comparing both gender, I've heard of cases where people are complaining that when you give pads, for example, to girls, boys should also be given something, say boxers. So what's your take on that?
From what I think is si lazima sana juu hiyo boxer haiwezi mzuia kijana kutoenda shule, unlike msichana mwenye akikosa ile pad badala ya kwenda shule itabidi amelazimika kubaki nyumbani hadi siku hedhi zitakapoisha, then ndo arudi kwenda shule. So mvulana hata akikosa hiyo boxer I guess hata anaweza vaa short na hiyo trouser ya shule ama short ya shule na bado maisha yaendelee kusoma kama kawaida.
Okay, so boxer si muhimu sana kushinda pad.
Si muhimu sana akipata moja, na hiyo si kitu yenye anaweza nuliwa ikakaa for long. Lakini msichana pad siwezi kuwa na pad moja in all throughout. Nahitaji kununua kila mwezi ni kuwa na pad zingine. So siwezi compare boxer na pad. Pad nini vae nitupe.
I feel like okay, hapa ni kama watu wanataka. All right, so what's your take on that, Nelson?
I feel like this is a very unequal comparison, yeah. And this is a case of the application of the principle of equity, and equity looks to serve to the rights of maybe how the special need, the special specific need at that time, yeah, because there's equality gives everybody the same opportunity, but equity looks to serve that specific need. So comparing these needs is a very uneven playground. It doesn't address the same issue at the same time. Okay. And so if we can measure this, or we can have parameters that address the same thing, that would be an even comparison. But for this one, ya kupatiana pads alafu kupatia boys kitu kingine tofauti kama boxers, won't be very equal in comparison. Yeah.
So what do you think should be in place of those books I just mentioned?
Probably opportunities like especially these avenues for empowerment, projects that are shaped towards the development of education of Boychild, like the way they've been developed for girls. A lot of boys also need programs like the return to school policies. Sometimes they drop out because of maybe various issues, and you know the way an African setup is, the moment you're a son and reaches a specific age in traditional setups, there's a way in which you're expected to be a provider. So a lot of boys drop out of school to become boda hustlers or to do mjengo and stuff like that. So they don't get opportunities to continue with school. But then there have been programs, and there are opportunities for programs to be developed so that some of these boys can also have programs developed like that to make sure that they get that minimum education that can enable them to have a livelihood out of what they learn in school. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry. So as a solution, I'm so sorry. As a solution, I feel the comparison, like Nelson has mentioned, is wrong, and it's also creating another time-taking bomb. Because it is not a matter of being given something, so I should get something in return. There are different needs, like he said. So I think the solution should be, can we do need analysis to get what do we do to support boys and men, rather than coming in with toothpaste or a toothbrush or boxers just because I gave a girl a pad. The girl needed the pad because of the menstrual bit of it. But then maybe the guy has toothpaste at home, or maybe the boy is using something else to brush his teeth. So I think there's need to do a specific need-based analysis to understand what is it really that the boys need to support them better. Is it awareness on specific areas? Is it empowerment on maybe hygiene? Is it empowerment on how they can support each other, or just do something that is need-based, not something that we are assuming because now we're coming in with pads, let's come also with the pencils. The girl also needs the pencil, but she needs also the pad. So I think there's need for get the nini exactly they should be helped with.
All right. I feel like him first. Alikuwa anakuangalia na jicho la kando sana when you're speaking. So
unajua hapa ina amesema kuhusiana na mambo haya kwamba mvulana hahitaji sana boxer. The same case ambayo unaona kwamba msichana anahitaji ile pad it's because of poverty. Sasa
it's not because of poverty.
Most of them wenye hawana zile pads mtu kama labda shizoto haizi kwa zile pads tuseme tu kweli. Unaona the same thing ama the same case pia kwa hawa boys wanahitaji zile boxer. Ni muhimu sana. Unajua nyinyi mzivai, nyinyi si wavulana. Sisi ndo tunajua kwa nini zinakuwa muhimu kwetu. Unaona? Panty najua ni muhimu kwenu sababu simekuwa mkitetea kwamba ni muhimu. You need them for maybe hizo mambo za pads. So issue kama ni poverty na address we have to address it on both sides both gender. Na tukiegemea upande sana wa msichana, huyu mvulana sasa tukimwacha kunafikia time anakuwa na haya, anaona haya. Kuna vitu zingine zinakuwa exposed as if kuwa exposed. Labda ukisimama labda shoti yake imetoboka ndio maana anaonekana uchi wake. Si kutoboka tu peke yake, hata vitu zingine zinatokea upande mwingine, unaona? So ile boxer pia inasaidia. But si kwamba ati boys they need the boxers ati ndio kila kitu umesaidia. Even the talks, they need the talks, the awareness. Kwa sababu ukiona kama easy dropouts mvulana msichana in case kumekuwa na issue hapo kumekuwa na hizo mambo ya early pregnancies watenda nyumbani. Sana ni msichana alikuwa akienda nyumbani, but then nowadays hadi ule mvulana pia inabidi ende nyumbani ashughulikie ule mtoto. Naona atachukua pikipiki awe boda. Sasa wakati sisi tumeenda kufanya zile talks tutatafuta msichana tumrudishe shule, alafu mvulana tunamwacha nje. Kwa nini? Because he's still young pia huyo. Na hii kitu ilikuwa decision yao wawili, si kwamba ati huyo alikuwa amezidi mwenzake. Unaelewa? Ama unasemaje ina?
Na hapo tutakuwa na ugomvi.
Lakini I like to appreciate venye umesema. Ni kweli wote wako na need. Lakini kitu mnafanya vijana mjue, zile sana si ati tunagawanya pad na panty. Sana ile ya muhimu ni pad zinapeanwa. Kwa tunafaa kuona kati ya pad na hii boxer. Sawa nitakupa boxer, but then msichana kama nimempea tu hii pad peke yake bila panty, pia sijafanya haki. So ndio maana tumeleta hii system ya kuwa wapatiwe hii pad badala ya kupatiwa hata pad peke yake, badala ya kupatiwa with panty ili iweze kumsustain, iweze kumsaidia. Yes, kuna wale wako na pesa ya kuwa wanaweza kununua, lakini tunajua sasa hii pads zimepanda bei. Leo mzazi yako nayo, kuna wale wako elof ya kuwa mzazi anaweza provide, lakini kuna time mzazi anafika anakwama hana. Ikiwa amepatiwa kule shule, haitampinga yeye kuendelea kuenda shule. Naelewa. Alafu sasa pia hii historia ya kusema wavulana wameachwa nje, kulingana na Ministry of Education, there is a program bado ya ku bring back the boys, the fathers. So wao pia huwa wanatafutwa, ni kwenye shule wanasoma, waende watafutwe, wajulikane kwa nini wameacha shule, alafu wanatafutwa, wanakuwa na talks, wanaregeshwa shule.
I'm a teacher by profession.
All right.
Wacha ni aga venye naona ikifanyika shule. Most of wenye wanakuja kufanya hizo talks ni girls forum. Sijaona hiyo boys forum kifanyika. Na nimeona maboys
like at all.
Wakipotea tu kule nje, hawarudi shule. So tukisema kwamba kuna hiyo issue na MOA ikifanya hizo vitu, sidhani kama inafanyika for sure.
Hata mimi I'm a teacher by profession, I like to say shule nilikuwa nikifunza, nilikuwa naona whenever we having talks with girls, tuna make sure hii siku tuko na talks na girls, boys pia wanaitwa na walimu wa kiume wanaenda kuwa na talks. So it depends the shule. Kama shule watu wanafaa kujipanga. When you giving out talks, give out talks to both. Wasichana wekeni kando, wavulana wekeni kando, have those talks to both of them. Si ati kuonelea tu talks kwa wasichana peke yake. Hapana, have both sides.
I totally agree with you, Ina. Yeah, so
And I think whatever is bringing in is some of the things I was talking about. Getting the specific gaps that we are having. So after realizing girls are dropping out, and I understand the system at times is a little unfair in cases of girl being impregnated, the boy is arrested, the girl is left free. They're all minors, or they're all school going children, or small young adults. But the boy, it's harsh on the boy. So I think also there is a bit of bias in terms of law. But we should be looking at things like whatever you're talking about now. If we are doing talks about returning to school, can we target both genders now that there's the need of boys are not coming back to schools, but girls are coming back to schools after the talks? So can we focus on bringing more boys back to school instead of spending more energy and time arguing where I should give a boy a boxer and a girl a pad? Yeah.
All right. Nelson, you want to say something also?
No, I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah, but for now, I think I've picked something from what Lucy has said, and she has brought the angle of the law. I know if I open this discussion here, it will be a very big discussion, but the law still has its biases. It's gender biases, and if we look at how deeply rooted these gender biases are, we can give an example of the lady who was arrested after getting involved with a young or an underage boy, a 16-year-old. A lot of organizations came out, a lot of human rights organizations, Girlchild organizations, saying this woman should be freed because of one or two reasons. Because maybe of because a gender argument. If you flip the coin to the other side and say it was a boy or a man who slept with an underage girl, you know what kind of backlash it would have been. And the other example is there's this lady who is arrested she's serving a very long time in Langata, but because she was blessed with looks, people argue a lot that she doesn't have to be in prison, and she needs to be released. So gender imbalances in the law is also another discussion, maybe that if we have time we can also look at it.
Then I feel like that's a question we should pose. Is the law gender biased? I feel like it should be a broad discussion that should be looked into. Because when we look at the prisons or the people who are getting arrested as each day unfolds, we find out that there are more men than female. When you go to the prisons today, you'll find out that more men than female. Is it that we female don't commit crime? or what exactly is wrong? Is it the law? Is it the society? Or I think we should pose that as a question. Is the law gender biased or something?
The fact that a lot of men are in prison more than in comparison to women, more men are in prison, doesn't necessarily be pegged to the perimeter to the parameter of gender. But there are so many issues that can lead somebody to jail or prison, including maybe just brushing shoulders with the law, crime or other things that are not necessarily having a gender basis or a gender argument. But the law, we do agree that it still has a bias. And I know one of us will speak about it before the show ends, and he'll speak to us through a legal lens so that we'll understand what kind of balances or imbalances are there in terms of the law and gender.
Okay. I guess he's preparing himself for that question. So as we progress with the discussion, or rather with this dialogue or this talk, I'd like us to talk about issues early pregnancies. Like, what's the fate of the boy and what's the fate of this girl? Let's talk about it in broad lengths, widely, that is. Ina?
So the fate of these young adults,
Okay.
as she said it.
Uh-huh.
Mostly girls drop out,
Mm-hmm.
but then there is still laws that are there to
Again,
get
laws.
back, to get
Uh-huh.
back the girls back to school.
Mm.
And then for the boys,
Mm-hmm.
most I'll not say that mostly, most of them drop out, because sometimes girls get pregnant, but then the father is not known, or the girl decides not to talk of who the father is.
Mm-hmm.
So with such a case, then the boy continues with his education.
Mhm.
But in case the girl decides to say who the boy is, maybe they might stop to fend for this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then in fending, they get into they come with the riders or anything. They do the casual works.
Mm-hmm.
There is still laws that have they talk of bringing back the boys to school, but then it all depends with what these kids want. Yes, you want to take them back to school, but does this kid want to go back to school after having a kid? That is the question we have to ask ourselves. Yeah.
All right. You want to say something?
Yeah, I think we must all admit that the consequences or the repercussions are different for both genders.
Uh-huh.
It is a bit severe for the girl because it's the girl that carries the pregnancy to term. It is the girl that looks after the baby. It's it's the girl that has to make the baby survive, cater for the child, and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we're having laws and policies that like the one Ina is talking about of returning to school after such incidences. But the implementation is also on the lower side. Yeah, because I don't know if people are not just aware of it, and also culturally the people will still look at somebody who has gotten pregnant as somebody who's immoral or a prostitute.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're done. Your fate is already determined. So the parents are not even pushing harder that the child goes back to school or something. But also in our school systems, the teachers or support staff who are just stereotypical, and they do not want to accept such children back to school.
Yeah.
Or even if they accept them back to school, there is this bit of discrimination of telling you, we rudi tu nyumbani, hata kama sikwambii directly unafaa kurudi, but I'm telling you, this is not your place. This is not a place for parents. So the repercussions is harsh on girl, I would say. As much as boys also, there's a bit of mental health, there's a bit of trying to brace up to be a parent when at a very young age. The bit of, in some cases, they're arrested. In some cases, they're forced to take responsibility or even discriminated. But I'm looking into the implementation side of the policies, which I feel still has a lot of gaps. In some areas, it's picking up well, but I must confess that it is not doing well. Yeah, they are accepted back in some cases, but the support is very low.
All
Yeah.
right. And then I feel like also it should be a society thing. How do we accept these people? Do we stigmatize them? Do we look at them as outcasts? How do we treat them at large? Because at the end of the day, also their mental health is very, very key, right? Yeah. Do you want to say something, or I should pose another question?
No, I wanted to say something. When it comes to what Ina and Lucy have talked about, and it happens that the boy is discontinued from school. Of course, we know we still have a lot of DNA tests that are very expensive, out of reach. Sometimes you cannot prove the real parent. And the age of sexual debut for some of these teenagers nowadays has gone all the way to, 10, 9, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the moment sexual debut is low, also comes another aspect of multiple sexual partners. So sometimes you can discontinue a guy or a boy without actually being the parent of. Yeah. So there's still a lot that has to be done here. But then when it comes, it happens, the boy is discontinued. Most of the times there are no programs to help them go back to school, unless they're in plans that maybe I haven't interacted with. And the moment a boy is or a young man is outside school, in African settings, you are expected to provide.
Yeah.
One, you do not have an educational background. Two, you have siblings maybe to feed. You have parents to feed, even grandparents in some other instances. And society judges you very harshly. The moment you're not in school as a young man, itageuka yule mwana wa nani ana kichwa ngumu, ama alitoroka shule, ama amekuwa mkora. Yani hata labda wewe umejaribu kabisa kuingia shule, lakini there are no avenues, so wewe utageuka bad role model. Usikue kama mtoto wa nani haendi shule.
Exactly.
Aliacha shule, lakini labda wewe mwenyewe una nia kuendeleza masomo, lakini ile opportunity, ile nafasi ndio hauna. Maana tayari imefanyika.
All right.
What Nelson is saying is actually linked to what the current uproar on social media. The Akode being a speaker in some events in near girls. I think it's a typical example of when people feel that you don't suit their cohort of a role model because of how your life unfolds. Yes.
All right. So that was a lot about early pregnancies and everything. Let's switch to something else. Let me pose a question to you. Saji, ama ni Gona?
Saji, Gona, yeah.
Weza pika?
Okay.
Na nitajibu, nitakuuliza maswali sequence. Oteke ishe? Weza osha vyombo?
Si bado sijajibu ya kwanza.
Haya, weza pika?
Hiyo rudia hiyo swali. Naweza pika ama najua kupika?
Weza pika? Unaweza kupika?
Naweza.
Unaweza? Unaweza kufua?
Siwezi.
Na kuosha vyombo?
Siwezi.
Aya, when I pose those questions, I want us to talk about men and their masculinity when it comes to, okay, tuseme tu hata examples, the house chores, the common things that are done in the house. Wewe kama wewe, mbona hawezi kufua?
Ona nguo mwanaume haichafuki. Nimevaa white sababu nilikuwa nakuja hapa.
Sasa hiyo kwa mfano unaweza ivaa kama mara ngapi?
Hii sababu ni white. Navaa mara moja na naisahau karibu.
Sio umesema haichafuki?
Hii naiweka tu sababu. Lakini sana men tunatumia hizo kala zingine.
Okay.
Black, green.
Zinachapa siku ngapi?
Kwa sababu nabidi ni bane kidogo. Hii content YouTube wanaweza kuiban. Lakini siku kadhaa.
Okay, so
but kiukweli mimi on my opinion naona kufua si sawa kwa mwanaume.
Si sawa.
Si sawa.
Yaani si hata issue ya kwamba hawezi, ni kwa si sawa kwa mwanaume. Hebu kwa leta nikupokonya microphone kidogo. Si sawa.
Mimi.
Unamsupport?
Kama ni mimi, kama imenibidi kabisa mimi nitafua. Lakini kama nina option,
kama imekubidi,
ikinibidi kabisa, nimekosa mama wa kufua, nimekosa zile hela, hapo basi ni kama umeniweka kwa kona. Umeniweka kwa kona ukaniambia sasa wewe nimepoint bunduki kwako.
Una otherwise.
Nimepoint bunduki kwako, hakuna njia nyingine hapa.
Okay. But then why is it so? Because tukiangalia, we all have hands, we have abilities. Sisi sote tunavaa nguo, we use the utensils. Like, okay, on a daily, we almost do the same things at least. Sasa mbona ikwe sana based kwa women, ikifika ni mambo na kwa mfano kuosha nguo, it becomes something hard for you to do. Na ikwe rahisi sana kwa mwanamke kufanya. Why is it so?
It is not something hard.
Okay.
Lakini nasema hivi, kama mwanaume, if at any point nikuwe confident in my cooking skills, my washing skills, my cleanliness, basi kidogo nitakuwa nimepunguza ile motivation ya kutafuta mtu kule nje. Na nitakuwa very comfortable kuishi peke yangu sasa.
Kwani hiyo ndio reason huwa mnaoa?
Kuoa ni kutafuta helper. You complement each other, yeah?
Okay. Or each other.
Yeah, you help each other. Wewe maybe utakuwa provider. Lakini yeye na atafanya mambo mengine, lakini wewe utakuwa umejituma kabisa, unajua wenyewe hapa nimejiweka kwa commitment kama hii.
Okay.
Lakini ati sasa naweza jiprovidea, nijipikie, nijifulie, tena nioshe vyombo vyangu tena, basi mimi nitakuwa bachelor for life.
Mimi na swali. Tuna compliment at what point? Compliment
he should be clear.
Tunasaidia na wapi? Mbona tusaidieni tu kwa vyombo na nguo? Mbona nikuje kama a female to compliment hiyo part peke yake? Mbona nisi compliment
exactly. Na pia nikiangalia hii kitu sasa, nani hata unataka kujibu? Mimi na feel pia ni kama because come to think of it, pia unajua roles zina change kama society, si ndio? Mimi kama mwanamke I will go work from Monday to Friday. Mwanaume pia atenda work kutoka Monday hadi Friday, si ndio? Lakini kifika weekend mimi ndio nimetoa na laundry bucket, ndio nimeenda nikaosha, bado nikuje ni mop nyumba, I do all house chores, do all the mopping and twirling of cobwebs. Like mbona? Exactly. Mbona sisi wote tumekuwa tukiwork?
Acha, wajua mmeingia sana mambo ya kufua kupika. Kwani kwa nyumba ni kufua na kupika pekee?
Mengine ni
other things zina happen pale ndani. Kama security, nafaa nikupe security wewe. Security in what perspective? Oh my god. Wewe unajua hata ukiona jongo hapo utaita
wewe kwenda.
Hadi mwanzo kwa roof.
Kwamba mko anaruka.
Hadi kiza. Hadi aerial la madishi kileta shida kwa roof. Utapanda kwa roof?
Okay,
mimi ndo napanda. Mbona sasa mnaongea
kwa okay, zaona mwanamke amepanda kwa roof, si utashtuka?
Niulize saa J. Acha niulize saa J. Sasa hiyo ni bachelor ama umeoa?
Ina depend.
Mimi sikiza. Ningekwambia kwamba sifui. Nikwambia sipiki. Sina mtu na sijaoa. Ukija ujue utafua.
Proposal hiyo inaishakuja.
Sasa mimi nataka kusema venye wewe ni bachelor, mimi pia ni bachelor na naishi peke yangu, najifanyia kila kitu sahihi venye sina mtu. The same way venye wewe unajifanyia kila kitu venye hauna mtu. The same way ile tukija tukipatana, tukiamua kushare majukumu, basi tushare majukumu yote. Kuanzia finances, kutafuta pesa ya nyumba, sijui pesa ya chakula, na hadi kusaidiana hizi nitigitis, hata kufagia, sitakwambia umop. Basi fagia ndo nipite nije kuja ni mop. Unirahisishie kazi.
Ni kusaidiana.
Exactly. Wewe ukitoka saa 11 kazini, hata mimi nimetoka saa 11. Hiyo time tukifika, tuamue ni nani atasaidia mwenzake kufanya nini.
Exactly.
Nikiwa nataka kupika, sawa nisaidia hata kukata kitunguu. Utakatika mikono ama umeoko utakatika pale.
Thank you. I like how Ina is posing the question. Like very very accurate.
Nelson amesema yatanunua vacuum cleaner, ya clean.
Okay.
Ama nunue kifagio, ya fagie. Helping each other. So I think the whole conversation about gender and gender roles inakuja from our attitudes na venye society imetu bring up.
True.
Yeah. Of course, we've tried challenging it lately because times are changing,
yeah.
And women are getting into job spaces, men are getting into spaces where my woman is earning more, is working more hours than I am actually doing that. But now shida inakuja tu hapa kwa kuelewana. Mimi kama mtoto wa kike grow up nikiambiwa wewe unafaa kuwa unavaa hivi, unafaa kuwa unaosha vyombo, unapika, una make bwanako happy. So hata wakati bwanako aku make happy, nobody is even looking into it because it is my role as a female to make my man happy. Na imekuingia kwa akili yenye hata ukiambiwa it is a toxic relationship, you're still like hapana.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't even see that.
Yeah,
so hapa kwa gender I think we have a long way to go, and hata inakuja back to whatever conversation we were having previously, where we are looking at laws kukua bias, but hata men are not reporting when they're sodomized or they're being beaten at home. It is that toxic to a point that anaona kama hiyo ni kukua ni malenge ama kukua nini?
Kukua weak.
Kukua malenge kukua weak, unaona? So I think it's broader. It's not just in terms of roles in the house, but also it is currently defining what kind of conversation they're having. Juu wanaume wenyewe watakuchekelea ukienda kuripoti bibi yako alikupiga. Yeah.
Okay. As we go on with the discussion, I had someone somewhere saying that men love submissive providers. Mbona mnaniangalia ni kama nimeturn blue hapa? Someone said that. And then also in the same thing, bado, nowadays it's easier for men to accept women to take men roles than men kuchukua feminine roles. Okay, I hope you get what I'm talking about. Sindio? Like me as a woman, kitambo, okay, I wasn't supposed to go at nende nitafute ndo nikuje ni provide for the family, but then like right now it's becoming the order of the day, which is now okay and is very very acceptable. Lakini saa hii wewe kama mwanaume ndo sasa hapa hizi arguments za hatuwezi pika, hatuwezi fanya nini because a sign, hatuwezi for because a sign of weakness. Like why is it so? Mbona ni rahisi sana mwanamke achukue roles za mwanamume lakini mwanamume asichukue roles za mwanamke? Why is it so?
I think for the longest time, this is what this discussion wanted to do. This discussion wanted, it since became a gender war now. And it reached a point where genders, the female gender wanted to emulate the male gender.
Ota, and you?
For me, I don't
The male
think I'd
gender?
like to emulate the female gender.
Okay,
And that doesn't mean that I want to down my masculinity or take up feminine roles. No. For us men, we believe there's a societal role of female in their femininity.
Okay.
Just be feminine, and something about it is very right.
Okay.
But for females trying to do masculine roles, I think maybe evolution is just forcing the strongest to survive.
Just a question. You saying that we women should stick to our femininity?
Yeah.
Back to what I said. You personally, would you love a submissive provider?
A submissive provider is it's a strong combination of words.
Okay, just now phrase it in favor of you, but I know it's going to be the same thing.
Of course, I'd like to get a partner that complements me, and in as much as I want that, or I desire that, or I envision that, I would like to still take the lead role in our partnership. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take the secondary role now that it doesn't sit right with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Dear Ina.
So from whatever Nelson is saying, we don't want submissive providers. We want submissive complementers. That is what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I've changed ndio ikue kwa sababu ukisema provider it's like I'll be providing like 100%, but when you say complementer, what you want me to do is complement you in your life, sindio? Then I'll be submissive and at the same time complementing you. It's a win-win situation.
All right.
If we maybe just open the word provider and open the word complementer, I don't know if there's an English word called complementer, but if we put it in that context, provider is just an overall role. Now it is like the whole family depends on you. I depend on you, first of all. But complementer means we can work out something. Yeah, we are in a partnership. So if you still hold on to submission, well, that is fine. That is okay. But being a provider and being submissive, it should also disturb a woman. It doesn't have to be right with you to become submissive and you're, yeah, it doesn't sit right with.
I think the world has changed. Like I said, women are taking job roles and still giving birth and still being still being parents at home. And my experience, there's a time I went for an interview, and the first problem they had were my locks. I was having locks, so they were like, you're not going to be a good example to our boys. It was a boys' school. Then I was like, I can shave them. The next one was now, you qualify, but we can't have you because you're female. Hautakuja hapa after kitu 3 months, utapata boyfriend, ushike mimba, after this time unaenda kutaka kuzaa. You see, there's just a lot of things happening. So I am happy with the fact that women are also becoming providers in their own spaces. But I think there's a friction somewhere that has actually created the whole new face of gender-based violence, because people don't know how to handle the whole situation of, I am a woman, I'm Nelson's wife, on example, thank you. I'm Nelson's wife, but as Nelson's wife, I have to go to school as a teacher, I have to finish up, I want to mark my books, come back, but still do all the the female defined roles in the family, and also provide but do not have a voice at the same time. So I feel it's high time we get a balance of accepting that times have changed. Female are becoming into work, doing their work and whatever, and also create a balance of how do I become a woman at home, a parent at home, but still become a wife. And how does my husband accept the fact that I am working, I am a mother, I am his wife, but still feel safe and feel secure that he's still the head of the family, is still the provider of the family, and we're just complementing. I think until we get that balance, bado tutakuwa tunaona hizi cases za mtu ameuliwa, mtu pesa zake zilikuliwa sijui wapi, you know. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that we are here to complement in terms of job and provision. But kuna gapa tu kwa address kabla tuanze ku lift madem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the same way. Times have changed, and I agree. And when you look at it as a gender war, now it becomes a complex issue. And instances like, for example, if we look at women in power or influential women, if we look at somebody like what was her name, the Iron Lady. I've just forgotten her name, but she was a UK Prime Minister at some point. Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher, yeah. If she, as a provider, takes the lead role, it forces you as a man to step up, yeah. You don't just sit there and say that, or Angela Merkel, or Sir Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, or even Winnie Mandela. You know, they already have a role to play, and they're already influential, and they have that kind of status. But it doesn't mean that you as a man now you become, you just, yeah, it doesn't make you a lesser man. It didn't make Nelson Mandela a lesser man, yeah.
Okay.
But it forces him to take a new level of, you know, let me do this differently.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you a laughing stock of anybody that sasa nani analishwa amefugwa. No, yeah. As a man, you also have to work your way out. Look at it this way. Let me step up. Yeah.
So if I work hard, the man works harder.
Yeah. It
Well
is
stated.
as a man you are predisposed already to working your way out. Work hard. Just work hard, work smart, just make your way.
All right.
You want to talk, Ina? I think that's also, it's nice. I like his angle, but I also feel that in some contexts it is misunderstood. Like a woman growing up is misunderstood, and it now starts giving the male some, I don't want to say unnecessary, but some kind of pressure, which leads to mental health issues. And my only prayer is we start teaching our children, our boys from a very younger age, that doing dishes doesn't take away your masculinity.
Exactly.
If I get a job today, I earn better than you as a husband, it doesn't make you a lesser husband. But how do we discuss this with whatever I'm earning, whatever you're earning, and create a family, or create a family where we can have conversations, so that if you feel pressed at a point and feel threatened by me growing as your wife, can we talk about it so that we strike a balance?
Okay.
So that as a woman, I understand. As a man, you also understand. Like, I don't know what we can do so that just making a man understand that because tulikuwa tumeoleka, nimekuwa head teacher, wewe ni senior teacher, doesn't make you a lesser man. Because I am late today or I am sick today, you have to step in to prepare dinner for the family, doesn't make you a lesser man.
Yeah.
Because you are sodomized, it is not your fault as a man. You are the victim. You should just come out. It doesn't make you a lesser man. It happened to you, and you should come out. You should talk about it, because it is something that is not nice.
Okay.
Ufai kunyamaza because I'm a man, now I'm a lesser man because I was sodomized. You did not apply for it. So I really wish we could have spaces of just enlightening men and boys to stick to their masculinity and feel safe in it, without feeling that small things are taking them away from them as men. Yeah, today we had conversations of flowers, and some men felt like me giving out a flower to a girl, they're actually asking, nanunua aje? Like, naenda aje kununua, heri nunue chocolate neza ficha kwa pocket. You know, it doesn't make you a lesser man going to buy a flower.
Exactly.
It doesn't make you a lesser man me sending you to the supermarket to get me
Repeat the flower part. Repeat the flower part.
I feel to me bring up our men in a way that they're very fragile, and very very little things make them feel like you're taking them the manhood in them away when they do certain chores, or when they perform certain duties, or when you say certain things to them, and in a restrict how people relate. So I think that the more we demystify such things, and just encourage and create awareness on positive masculinity, I think the better it solve a lot of things.
All right.
Yeah.
You just mentioned mental health, and I just remembered some other day in this studio I was encouraging men to cry.
They should cry a lot.
You should cry as a man.
Thank you so much.
That is not simping.
Exactly. It is not a sign of
in
weakness.
your emotions.
Yeah, exactly. And that is why tukirudi bado kwa cases when we were saying like men, hata ukiangalia sahi records, men wako na more cases of depression na mental issues because of that notion ya ati I'm a man. You don't show weaknesses. Ati sijui crying is a sign of weakness. You can't even let out your heart to someone. Ati unapoa your heart, you're stressed over something because you'll be considered weak. Why? Nini ni mbaya na nini? Talking is okay. We are all people. We are all human. So if you have an issue, if talking about it is one way, okay, walisema problem shared is a problem half solved. We all embrace that. Issues sijui men and sijui what, like about
Men do cry. No.
Sahi.
Bro.
Sahi na sahi labda siku nyingine.
Lakini cheki hapa tusidanganyane. Wajua nyinyi wanatuambia tulie, but you are the first people to undermine us. Naona? Mtatoka hapo sasa mwanaume gani wanalia?
Mwanaume aina gani?
So hiyo tendo kitu ya kwanza umenitoa max.
Unajua mimi sijasema kwamba mwanamume anafaa alielie. I said that it is good to cry. Plus hata mimi mwenyewe nikizaona msichana kila wakati analielia I'll be like kwani usina shida yake ni gani? But when it's necessary we understand, you let out ili kitu iko ndani iishe. Mimi kwa mfano, if for example I was your girlfriend, I'd really love to see my boyfriend crying zile za babe, there's something going on, I'm not okay, I just need a shoulder to cry. I feel very very nita feel baby, my boyfriend trusts me. Nita feel my boyfriend trusts me, and all that, like it will give me a nice feeling as a girlfriend. Na nita feel by there enyewe my man, he is my man, you know, nimemaki territory. But then sambona I'm not telling you to like go around everywhere crying, but when it's necessary, let it out. If you need a shoulder, come. I'll give you my laps. Lia kabisa. I'll give you a shoulder. Get your handkerchief if need be. Na encourage you to cry. To cry. I'll play you sad songs and you know that crying mood and everything.
Unatudanganya.
Utageuka mimi.
Huyu anatudanganya.
Utageuka mimi. Trend.
Hivyo ndo nataka tu
trend.
Kwani nikulia tu pekee ndo utajua kama mimi natoa chenye kiko kwa moyo wangu.
Talking of uta trend, ni kwa sababu mmeka hiyo kama mentality. And someone somewhere is asking, is crying the only way out? It's just
is it by the way? Is it the only way?
It's not the only way out, but then it's also a relevant way.
Tutafanya wengine basi.
I think
crying is the best way though, because you let out a lot of things from you. Hata ukikuwa mtoto, the reason why you cried mamako akajua uko na njaa ni kwa sababu hiyo kulia ndio maana akajua uko pressed or uko na umepupu or something. So crying is a very good way actually to let out things, and like ukizizuia useme ati unajaribu kuchukua another way to solve your issues, hautakuwa umelete out venye ungeleta out ukilia. Unaelewa? Ndio maana kwa mazishi pia tunalia, after that tunacheka juu tumeleta ile yote yenye ilikuwa tuko nayo kwa moyo.
Ina.
Yes.
Unaona kulia? kulia ni kama kudrown in alcohol. Yeah, it doesn't change the problem. It doesn't change. Bado iko hapo. So instead of kulia, amsha hiyo mwili yako bro. Amsha hiyo mwili. Go and find solutions to that problem.
Imagine, so it doesn't do away with the problem, but then at least inakupea relief. Ile relief at least hautakana ile uchungu.
We are talking about my mental state. I'm not talking about the problem that is ahead of me. Unaona? Because hiyo shida iko hapo ni sawa. I might not be able to solve it. It's okay. But then what about my inner me? You know, I deserve peace and I deserve to be okay up here so that I do other things also. So wewe ukisema ati hapana, my mental health has sita solve your problem sawa, but pia mimi my inside has to be okay, and that's the whole point of this thing. Crying is very, very important.
Yes.
To men.
And that's what I'd like to add on her with a good example. Women usually once they cry, ukisha let out whatever you had in you, then unarudi unakuwa tu sawa. Yani hata kama hauja solve ile problem, but umelia umemaliza, then you find a solution after crying. It's natural.
I'm just saying, if you catch me crying, I totally get your point. But as men, I think we have those spaces where it's easier for us to speak to each other. And man to man talk. Hata kama ni mtu mkubwa wako kwa miaka ama your peers. And pale kama kuna kitu moja society haita allow ni kwamba unaangalia mwanaume mwenzo wako afu unaanza kulia. Wachana na wife. Ati nini bro?
Okay, and that is the exact thing. That's the exact
and
thing.
This is how society has watched us grow, yeah? And I'll give an example of my dad. My dad growing up, he wasn't the most masculine guy ever. He was very soft when it came to us. Yeah. But for all these years, the only time that I saw dad shed a tear na alipanguza ile haraka ile na niliona akarealize nimeiona
Macho na sweat
kidogo hivi ameitoa. That was when he lost his mom. And that is something very understandable, yeah. But anything else apart from here, hata ile sijawahi pata huyo jamaa hapo. So some of these things grow with us. They grow inside us. I watch my dad or a father figure in my life just being tough. Of course akona a few problems that zinamchenga once in a while, labda anataka kubalance out na hesabu haingiani. Akianza kulia sasa mimi nitafanya nini? Mimi namwangalia, I'm looking up to this guy.
Okay, me naona bado it's all mentality, and that is exactly what Lucy was saying. Like you people mmeshikana tu na hizo mentality zenye ni potovu. Because the moment you start thinking that, for example, crying ni a sign of weakness, and as a man you can't actually cry.
That's what
because you just can't.
You know.
Hapo ndo mnaanzia not letting out your problems, not actually admitting that you are not okay. Mnajifungia na mizigo zenu na hapo ndo mna land into depression. You are not even talking about your issues. It's the same when we are talking about issues about sodomy and all those. You don't come out because you are a man. Napo ndo tumeenda wrong as a society, because we think speaking out and actually letting your problems out to people is a sign of weakness.
Yeah. I think kwa wenye wamefanya psychology ama therapist, they will agree with me. During counseling ama therapy sessions, stop looking at me like that. It is during therapies, you're told that if your client cries, let your client cry. Hata kama anakujanga mara 5 na analianga tu, let that person cry. It is a way of healing.
Yeah.
I don't like when you go to funerals or somebody has lost a loved one and then men are surrounding the person and they're like, be strong, stay strong, stay. You know, there's somebody who is coming to come into terms with a lot of things.
Yeah.
He is emotional, but mko tu hapo kama wababa mnachochana tu hapo, kuwa na strong, you know, acheni huo msee, let that person cry, acha itoke. Mimi, I am a very good example of a crying baby, and I'm not stopping any soon.
Yeah.
I am
You
not.
shouldn't.
Because trust me, you wrong me today. Me, I cry about everything and anything. You wrong me today, I cry. Trust me, that thing is over. We are done. As in, sitashikilia. Sitashikilia. But now you are going through a lot of things. Unapata mtu amejifungia, mtu amekaza. Like kuna tuka kitu kana mchok. He can't cry because he's a man. Alafu fellow men are there like unafaa tu kuwe strong. Ufai. Hiyo ndio ile narrative nasema we need to change negative masculinity. Let people be comfortable in their emotions. Kuwa comfortable kupenda ikufanye kuwe simp. Wengine wanaona wakipenda mara mingi wametuma I love you mara mingi, bro hiyo ni gani? Wengine tena akilia hiyo ni gani? Kwa harusi mwanaume akilia wako zile za mbona atoe machozi. Like, just be comfortable in that. It is one step to therapy. It heals. It brings out some burden in you. I'm not saying if you're having every problem sasa wewe lia tu ataka machozi haiko walisema tulia. Hapana, but if you feel that you're overwhelmed and you wanna cry, let it out. It is okay.
We've said that there's a lot of suicide cases of men. Have you asked yourself kwa nini kukuwa na these suicide cases of men? Kwa nini wasingelia wakamaliza hiyo kitu iliwafanya wajinyonge? Yes, or talk about it. Hizi stories zingine hapana tuta argue, lakini ule ukweli machozi usaidia pia.
Wacha nikwambie, si kulia peke yake inaweza kutoa hizi shida. Sawa. Wacha tuangalie tu mfano mimi naweza pitia certain scenarios zinaweza ni mahali kwenye okay hapa ingekuwa niongelea, but wacha niseme tu chenye mimi hufanya. Mimi uchukua ni drink hata kama ni maji nikunywe na nilale, then after maybe certain hours ama minutes nikirudi na kuwa normal. Sasa mbona nilie kama hiyo ndo way ambayo mimi nanisaidia? Kwa nini natulazimisha tulie? Kuna hidden agenda ama?
I have a question for you. It's okay for you. You've identified a way of solving or calming down, yeah? But do you have a problem with somebody else who feels emotional, or somebody like me? I would say a male version of me. Me, when I cry, it gets better. Like, it is like, of course I've not solved it, but the anger is gone. I feel I'm in a sober state to solve something better. So do you feel that a male version of me now could be a problem to you? Like, unaweza ukikutana na mwanaume kama mimi, do you think it's a problem? No, when you sleep, you drink, you sleep, right? A male version who feels overwhelmed, cries, and then proceeds to solve whatever is going on. Do you have a problem with such a person?
Before ajibu or before mujibu, let's say huyu mwanamume si lazima alie mbele za wenzake. Hata akijificha kwenye hata onekana kilia, hakuna shida, bora amelia aka air out. Nyinyi najua kitu wenu kubwa ni aonekana na wengine analia ndo mnaona shida. Anaweza tu bado kujificha pale alie na story iishe. Hizi culture zote zenye tuko nazo kusema ati mwanamume afai kulia, mwanamume afai kuosha vyombo, these are just hizo cultures potovu zenye we have to do away with them. And it is from this generation yenye tunafaa kuchange your narrative to be better people.
Treat every wall with suspicion. They have ears. So yeah, essentially what I'm saying is what my buddy was saying. We all have coping mechanisms. I don't know if they are called coping mechanisms, if that's the right terminology. But if you choose yours to be crying, well and good. But for me as a man, I know I'll go do sports, maybe. I'll go hang out with my boys. I'll do art, pool tabling, have a few games with the boys there, take a walk with the boys, baby. You know, some of these things are proven ways of just dealing with that kind of stress that would make me cry instead, so that I don't have to cry now. Yeah.
Sasa story ya IPL wewe utatupeleka Vito Sport tena. Anyways, it has been a very cute discussion here with full. Hey, hiyo energy imekuwa hapa. Hadi wakaninyang'anya microphone. Si mliona alininyang'anya. Anyways, it has been an awesome discussion, and I hope you liked it there at the comfort of your home. Yeah, continue to follow us. Tuko hapo. This has been Speaking My Mind. Aki si feel kama issue inafaa kuisha, but then we have to. So sad. Bye.